All right, welcome everyone to another partner spotlight, another practice management spotlight for Redtail Technology, featuring Paul Karasik and LifeSite. My name is Rick Williamson, and we are really pleased to bring you these webinars. These webinars are all about giving you information and pointing you in the direction, both conceptually and technologically, in ways that are going to help you in the future. Obviously, the industry is changing, technology is always evolving, and we at Redtail, we want to be a big part of helping you with that, but we also want to lead you to other solutions and other ideas that you might not be considering or you might not be implementing. And with that, we have LifeSite. We have Chris Wong with us today, and we also have Paul Karasik. And I'm really excited to have Paul here because Paul is one of the leading management consultants and coaches in the financial industry. He's the president of the Wholesaler Institute and the Financial Advisor Coaching Institute, and he's dedicated more than 20 years to helping financial professionals sell and market their products and services more successfully. Obviously, that's really important to you all. Paul is also a member of the faculty at the Center of Financial Studies at Fairfield University, and he's regularly featured, and I think this is really impressive, in several leading financial magazines, including Investment Advisor, Registered Rep, Research, National Underwriters, Bank Investment Marketing, and CFP Today. He also writes a column called High Net Worth Success, and that appears monthly in the On Wall Street magazine. Now, recently, and before I get to Chris, I love this little tidbit. Recently, Paul just saw another dream come true. He actually appeared in a PBS television show based on his life and his work. And although he readily admits starring in a national television special's thrill of a lifetime, he claims that he's more excited about speaking to you on this webinar about Redtail. And he is also joined by Chris Wong. Chris is the CEO and co-founder of LifeSite. LifeSite, for those of you who don't know, is the 2017 Financial Technology Consumer's Choice winner at the AARP Innovations at 50 Plus, and a Red Herring Top 100 North America winner. LifeSite, and you're going to see a little bit of this today, provides secure, convenient, smart digital vault solutions to help individuals, families, and quote-unquote life networks store, organize, access the most important information in their life anytime and anywhere. What's really cool is that Chris and LifeSite are based in Silicon Valley. We're very happy to have both Paul and Chris with us today. And with that being said, Paul, I'm going to give the floor over to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Rick. We've got about 29 minutes to spend. I want to make them as most impactful as I can. Anybody that's taken the time to be on this webinar, I understand that there's no cost, but there is a cost, and that's your time. I call it your currency, and your currency is all you have to invest in your success, and how we spend those minutes is critical. So I want to, with respect to that, I want to make this impactful, meaningful, provide you with insights. We're going to be talking about how to grow your practice in one of the areas that's not only a threat but an opportunity, and is going to affect everybody in the industry today, which is tapping that multi-generational opportunity. I think it's critical. I'm going to be providing you with some insights and some statistics in reference to that and how it works. We're also introducing on this call today some phenomenal technology that I've had the honor and privilege to interact with, and I first saw it at a meeting, at a financial advisor meeting, and got totally excited about it and began to work in conjunction with LifeSite because I felt it was a huge marketing opportunity. Just to jump back a little bit in terms of what we do one thing for one kind of person, doing it for over 20 years, and that's helping financial advisors to grow their business, to make more money, to sell and market their products and services more successfully. We're a one-trick pony. We only do one thing for one kind of person, but we're really good at it. I wake up in the morning, I'm the ultimate codependent. I just think to myself, what am I going to do today to help advisors to grow their practice, to make more money, to have a better life, to work less, and have a more successful practice, and that's the goal. So it's equally about life balance, it's equally about growing your practice, it's about making more money, but it's also about having more fulfillment, more joy, more success, because we're actually working smarter and not harder. And to that extent, I believe that this topic today is one of the secrets to your success in terms of growing your practice. We'll be offering at the end of this program today an incredible deal because of the relationship with Redtail. If you're interested in pursuing what we're going to be talking about today, there'll be a final slide. Again, we're going to make this about probably 28 minutes more, and that's about it. So hang out, stay on the call, wait for the final slide and the final offer that we'll be making. It's due to the fact that one, Redtail and LifeSite have become partners, and they are now, it's being offered in terms of a strategic alliance, a strategic partnership. We're able to make this offer. Secondly, it's due to the fact that LifeSite has an initiative, and that's to really work closely with the financial community. Um, the basis and the foundation for LifeSite is very, very simple, and that's to be able to help individuals organize and store documents and information more successfully, more elegantly, and more efficiently. And I'm going to preface this by saying and kind of revealing a little bit here that I go back uh, to the analog days. And when I began working with financial advisors over 20 years ago, we had a lot of analog solutions for this whole idea of helping clients to organize, store, and manage documents and financial information more effectively. And we found that advisors that got engaged with this process, one, it helped them to access uh, very significant information that could help the advisor to help their clients, and in effect, as a side benefit, to grow their own practice. And so when a client or a prospect would come into an office, they would oftentimes hand the prospect or client a 3-ring binder, and I've still got some. If I look on my shelf here, I've still got a couple of those binders that advisors used to use. And that binder had slots in it, and some of you may be actually using some of these or some version of it at this point. And it had slots on financial backgrounds in terms of accounts and trusts and estates and health information and who to contact and all kinds of things. And they were put in this binder, which the advisor would help the client or prospect begin to sort through and put forms and copy machines and so on and so forth. So it was kind of the way things were done by people who had a full service type of a practice, who wanted to access a deeper relationship. They wanted to, in effect, maximize the relationship. They wanted to expand the opportunities with existing clients, and that was the effect. The motive, the intention was always very clear, and that was to um, help the client and help the client in a very deep way. Those binders have long since gone. Today we have an incredible technology that I first saw at a meeting, a financial advisory meeting that I was a speaker at, and I got enthralled by it, and I thought, wow, this is what they had not been in the financial advisory direction, or that particular looking at that as a particular target audience for the product. And since then, we've had a great journey of helping to develop products that are specific to the financial industry. And specifically, I got a chance to meet Chris Wong. Chris is the president and CEO of LifeSite. He's a visionary. He's one of the pioneers in the tech industry, working in helping to build PeopleSoft. And he's a visionary, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of identifying opportunities uh, to use technology to really to expand and to provide benefits that folks really don't see out there. So with that, I've asked Chris to just introduce himself, take a minute or two, give a little bit of background on LifeSite, and then we'll come back to this at the end of this webinar to say how LifeSite really works. And Chris will be coming back towards the end. So Chris, if you want to just introduce yourself, that'd be terrific.
Wow, I don't know what else I can add to what both you and Rick were saying, actually. But no, I think I just want to add to Paul's. I think what we're going to talk about here is that at the end of the day, Paul likes to always talk about, if it's not going to help all of you out there grow your practices, right, it's not going to be of value to you. So I think what we represent more than anything, working with Paul and how you utilize the system, particularly as it relates to kind of tapping the multi-generational gold mine, which Paul talked about, is at the end of the day, right, we're talking about building or helping you build client relationships that last generations. So I think what's going to be interesting over the next kind of 15, 20 minutes or so, and then when we dive into how LifeSite might be able to help you all, is that we're proposing to all of you out there a different way to connect with your clients in a whole new way, right? To try to build these relationships that last. Because as we all know, we can all agree that we can't give great advice to clients if we don't know our clients. And what better way to know our clients than to share information and build deeper relationships? So with that, I'll throw it back to Paul, and we'll circle back to how LifeSite is part of that equation and formula.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. So let's next slide is our little LifeSite kind of promo. We've got some great we'll get into some great expansion of how actually LifeSite works when we pull up the dashboard towards the end of this presentation today. I want to talk a kind of a broader scope and kind of fundamentals. And certainly if anybody's interested in learning more about our coaching programs, you're welcome to contact us on that too. But we have some very core principles about how it works. Principles that aren't so obvious. Sometimes we get connected to them and they get lost in the mix. But I call them my core principles, and we always go back to them, and then we work from those core principles to say, how can we use those core principles to be authentic, to be relevant, to serve our clients. And when we serve our clients, we grow our practice automatically. So we don't have to sell, we don't have to hard sell, we don't have to use so-called quote-unquote closing techniques. We build lasting, enduring relationships by finding ways we can serve our clients. That being said, there's certain psychology and there's certain core issues that are relate to sales and marketing, and we always have to begin from those foundations. And the first word I would put up on the screen, that's such a critical word in all of our interactions with our clients, is the word passion. And when we look at the word passion, in the word passion we see there's a lot of power in that. And the reason there's a lot of power in the word passion is if we understand how sales are made, and we understand how sales happen, and we understand how relationships are formed, then we begin to get better at forming relationships, attracting relationships, growing relationships. And relationships are based on emotion. So we say, as a basic concept, underlying concept here, sales are made for emotional reasons and justified with logic. A very, very core concept. So people begin to do business with people that they have emotional connections to. When people feel good about doing business with you, when they feel good about the suggestions you're making, when they feel good about you as a person, when they feel good about the concepts, that's when they take action. You know, oftentimes I'm at we do a lot. I've written 3 books on how to do financial seminars. I coach a lot on seminars and client events and so on. And when you look at the ways that actually helps to create that connection, it's because there is an emotional connection. Sometimes people will do a seminar, advisors will do a seminar, and the seminar has a lot of great logical information, but when the people in the audience are looking at the logical information, they can always find ways to argue it, whether it's suggestion to go in a certain direction or an alternative product or working with indexes or whatever the case, or a fee-based product. There's always another argument. It's kind of like buy or lease. We can sit around at a dinner table and find like a thousand reasons and arguments to buy a car versus lease, or lease versus buy, and it goes on forever. It's circular reasoning. It gets us nowhere. But when there's a feeling, when there is what I call the transference of an emotion, if we look at the next slide, that basic concept of emotions, and then we look at selling, what selling is on the next slide is the transference of an emotion. We understand that your job to create that emotional connection is the number one job. And I always say that a financial advisor's number one skill set is to control the emotions of the clients and the prospects that they're working with. And when you are able to transfer an emotion, when you're able to connect with the emotional content, when people feel that the advice you're giving them is giving them a feeling of security, when they feel that you really care, that's when the relationship, that's when the opportunity happens, and that's when you make the sale. So relationships and the ability to create relationships and maximize the relationships is the number one skill that an advisor needs to be able to expand and to grow their practice. And so in the next slide, we see relationships are based upon how you make people feel. So this is kind of bad news and good news for the advisor who, like most advisors I know, and I've worked with literally thousands of them in my career, are so good technically. They are masters at the technical information. They're masters, in my opinion, good advisors in terms of understanding the products and the technical information that goes into choosing and defining and refining and adjusting products and product mixes and the advantages of products and all that technical information, balancing that out with the emotional content of who you're speaking to, and understanding that the logic will only get you so far, but how you are impacting them emotionally will in turn make them either a client or expand that relationship in the direction where you're given an opportunity to serve them in a more expansive, more holistic manner, and cross-sell and so on. So my question and my challenge to you here on this call today is this question: how do you want your clients or prospects to feel about you? In the next slide, that question: how do you want your clients and prospects to feel about you? What are the exact emotions you want them to have about you? I referred to a couple just a couple minutes ago, but what are they? What are those? What are those? Do you have what I call duplicatable systems? Duplicatable systems that you want them, that you can use to convey, to transfer a specific emotion to them. Do you know the words you want to use, the word tracks you want to use? And not to use a bad word, sometimes it's used because it's used only because it's used incorrectly. Do you have scripts? Do you have word tracks that allow you to connect with your prospect or your client at the emotional level? And so if you don't, and again, we're speaking on a broader level on this call here today, you are missing an opportunity, because the truth is that logic can always be argued with, but emotions can never be argued with. How I feel is not up for any logical, there's no changing. You can't overcome a feeling. You can logically provide a handle an objection and so on, but how somebody feels is not arguable. And so when I talk about duplicatable systems on the next slide, I'm talking about those ways that you can approach your client so that you can convey that feeling most effectively. What do you say and what do you do to create the feelings and emotions that will produce the positive effects that you want to create with your clients. And I find most successful advisors intuitively know how to do this. They are what I call unconscious competence, which means they oftentimes know what they're doing, but they don't know they know what they're doing, or they do it unconsciously because they're masterful at it. But in fact, to become consciously competent, to understand if I do these things, I will be able to create these emotional connections with my existing clients and prospects. And many of you, in fact, I would probably say everybody on this call has in fact either unconsciously or consciously applied some of these systems to do this. But when I talk about on the next slide the ideal system should really have three components to it for creating those emotional connections with a prospect or a client. Number one, they should be able to maximize the ideal system, maximize cross-sell opportunities. Number two, they should increase referrals and retention. And number three, they should be able to create multi-generational relationships. And so these are the opportunities. If you had a system, if you had an approach to your clients that would allow you to expand that relationship, to me, the number one opportunity of any advisor is the existing opportunities that are there with your current clients. If you had a system that would enable you to cross-sell, to find new investment opportunities, to find new risk management opportunities, to find new tax-advantaged opportunities for your clients, and expand that relationship, because it takes a lot more energy to get a new client than it does to actually expand that relationship. The hard work is getting somebody who's not doing business with you to do business with you. The easy work is to expand that relationship, and for us to, in fact, create a plan to expand that relationship. And number two, when you get, and the banks know this so well, they're so good at this, they understand that when you have 2 or 3 connections with the bank, the likelihood of you leaving that bank relationship is diminished by 1,000%. I'm making up a number right now, but hundreds of percent for sure. That's why they're always seeking to cross-sell a opportunity with you at that bank. You will, the more connections you have with them, the less likelihood that you'll ever leave that bank. And they have this statistically ranked, and that's why when you walk in, they're always looking to find another opportunity. And finally, which brings us to today's topic, is the gold mine that's awaiting everybody if you had a system that would allow you to meet and greet the family members of your existing clients. Let's go to the next slide. I want to talk about bring this back home now to the financial industry crisis that we're facing right now. And I'm going to give you some statistics here that are not opinions, they're facts. And oftentimes we wait until Katrina is coming down the road at us before we actually seek some help. And I'm trying to, in an effort to work with my client base, which is you guys on this call here today, I'm really making a serious effort, and LifeSite is providing a huge opportunity for us to deal with this particular issue. And let's walk into the issue a little bit. Here's some statistics for you. Fact: $30 trillion in wealth transfer is going to happen within the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years. This is a fact. This is not an imagination. This will be the largest wealth transfer in the history of the planet Earth. That's happening here in the U.S. Fact: 80 to 90% of the people who will get the transfer of that wealth will fire the advisor. That's you on this call today. 80 to 90% will fire the advisor. Fact: 75% of the advisors out there have never even met the children. So I've spent my career in the 9 books I've written and all my workshops and all my coaching on a very simple principle. How do you initiate and maximize relationships? That's all. That's really the core of what I teach, what I help advisors to do. How do you initiate and how do you maximize a relationship? Well, the first point, the obvious point here is you have to meet the person to initiate that relationship. You have to meet a prospect. And so if you look at this last fact, that's where I want to spend the remainder of today's multi-generational marketing webinar on. 75% of all the advisors have not even met the children. They may have them on a profile, on a fact finder. They may know the names, they may know the age, they may know the birth date. They may even have some financial information on them, but they have never even met them. So the question becomes now, how do you initiate that relationship? How do you begin that relationship with this incredible opportunity or threat, whichever way you want to see it? I see it as an opportunity, especially if you're more seasoned advisors and have some existing relationships. So you might know they talk about their daughter, their son, but you really have a connection. Have you met them? Statistics show that unfortunately, if you've met some, at most you've probably met 25% or some of the children of your clients, but you certainly haven't met all of them. Hence, I have a system for you here today that will begin to initiate and will provide you with an opportunity if you want to continue to explore it after this call is over. Let's look at these three questions. Imagine if you asked these three questions next time a client walks into your office. The first one is, are your family's insurance, financial, we'll continue, and medical documents organized and secure? If you just ask that very simple question, are your family's insurance, financial, and medical documents organized and secure? You asked your client that. Number two, do you and your loved ones have easy access to critical information in case of an emergency? And number three, are you leaving a life legacy that will be passed on to future generations? These are three questions I'm going to challenge you to ask your clients if you care about them. And I believe that everybody on this call cares about your clients. You wouldn't be in the business if you didn't. I have to say I've never met an advisor who essentially at core doesn't care about the well-being of their clients. Are their documents organized and secure? Do your loved ones, in case of an illness or in the case of an emergency, have access to things like living wills and disability insurance policies? And where are they kept? Where are they stored? And are you leaving a life legacy? You know, who you are, your photos, your videos, your audios. Are you leaving a legacy that you can pass on to your children and your grandchildren? And then the final question on this of these that follows these three questions is, can I help you with that? Can I help you with that? Can I help to make sure that your documents, your insurance, your financial, your medical documents are organized and secure? Can we let me help you with that? Do your loved ones have easy access to critical information in case of an emergency? Do they know where to get your life insurance policy, your medical, your disability, your critical illness, your as I mentioned before, even your estate plan? Does everybody know where to get this information? Do they know where it's kept, be it in an analog form or wherever? And what are you going to do with all those photos, all those pictures, all that wonderful information about who you are? What are you leaving as a legacy? Can I help you with that? And so when they answer, and we've done this particular workshop with LifeSite and on the road and in conversations, and we find that the answer varies between no, I don't have the right answer to these three questions, or somewhat. but we haven't met anybody, any client advisor that feels that their clients would ask, yes, everything's organized, we're ready to rock. Two, everybody knows where everything is in case of an emergency. And three, yes, all my stuff is organized, so I'm leaving some sort of a legacy for my kids, my grandkids, and so on and so forth. When you begin to ask this question, then I want to ask you the rhetorical question of how are they going to feel about you if you begin to help them in this manner and you actually take your time. And I want to preface, we work a lot with the Pareto principle, and that's very simply 80% of your business is coming from 20% of your clients. So when we talk about using this system, this LifeSite system and the vaulting system, which we're going to get into now in a couple minutes, the question becomes, who do you do it with? And the answer is you only do it with your best clients. So you're not offering your 80% that are bringing in 20% of the income. You're asking the 20% of your clients that bring in 80% of your income if you can help them, because you don't have the time. Now you get into the weeds with them. And with that, I want to offer a digital solution. The digital solution is called the LifeSite Vault. That's the next slide. The next slide shows us that we have a way to do it digitally. So no longer do we have to give them a 3-ring binder and tell them to go out and start to make copies and put it in there and then come back with the 3-ring binder. We have a digital solution that's based on the highest level of security available today in any form they have. It was developed by an insurance company to secure and lock in private information in a digital format. It's really interesting. LifeSite, amongst the youth, the people that you want to reach, and the digital solution is very much easily accepted. They are so familiar with digital. They have facility with digital. They are relaxed with digital, and the digital solution is what they gravitate towards. Rather than the analog solution of the 3-ring binder. So it's the perfect way to access those young folks. So with that, I'd like to turn the mic over to Chris, and he's going to spend just a couple minutes, which will give you an overview of what does the LifeSite Vault look like, so you can ask those 3 questions and then begin to store the information with that. Chris, you want to take it over?
Yes, sure. First of all, thanks, Paul, for sharing your insight and advice with everyone. I've probably heard you speak a number of times, and you've always actually continued to add to the conversation. I think also what was interesting about what Paul was saying was that last week I actually spoke at one of the top baby boomer longevity conferences, and one of the big themes of the conferences was that if you look at the kind of boomer transfer to the millennials, right, the expectation is that's going to be one of the greatest and largest wealth transfers ever in the history across multiple generations. So I think a lot about what Paul's talking about, a lot about what we're doing with LifeSite, and I'll kind of tie it back into context here, right, speaks to us trying to get out ahead of that wealth transfer as advisors, so that we can take advantage of that and continue to provide service, right, to families across these generations, as Paul talked about. So I would like to start out with, as Paul mentioned, there are a number of things as advisors that we can learn regarding kind of the most up-to-date techniques for, I think Paul mentioned, creating and discovering new profitable relationships. And I mentioned this because that's where kind of LifeSite comes in. Second, Paul also mentioned discovering cross-selling opportunities within your clients, and I think he was most notably pointing to the generations. And then, of course, utilizing state-of-the-art technologies like LifeSite and Redtail to expand your audience and unlock the potential for intergenerational marketing. Also, I mentioned earlier, as advisors, I think we can all agree that we can't give great advice unless we truly know our clients. And we can best know our clients if we can deepen those relationships or the relationships we have with them. And studies have shown that the best way to deepen relationships, quite honestly, is through sharing. And through sharing of information, we obviously build trust. And as advisors, we can agree that we're in the trust building business. So as Paul says, what's your system, what's your process? And that's where LifeSite comes in. So specifically, no one can predict the future, right? But there are always ways to be more prepared for whatever life has in store for you. And nothing is more important in these times of crises than to have personal information, all your information ready, organized, and accessible in times when you need to act. I think we can also agree that there's just so much information that we have to manage that record keeping becomes more important, and it becomes harder and more time consuming. I mean, Paul mentioned the fact that most families have this information, but what's sad about it is that most families have this information in a binder. And then what's even worse is that the binder typically is not, people don't know where the binder is. And we have a lot of clients call us up and tell us or give us stories around they wish they had LifeSite in place because they don't find this binder until after it's too late. So for that, we've created the LifeSite Vault. So this is a picture of the LifeSite Vault. And what the LifeSite Vault is, it's an ultra secure, cloud-based, think of it as a digital safe deposit box for individuals, families, as well as their advisors to all work together to organize, manage, and share all of your life's information and documentation. So as you can see here, right, we cover all aspects of life, from life insurance, health information, wills, financial planning, estate planning information, personal information. We even help manage across families' passwords. So it's really every aspect of life. There are dozens of predefined categories, hundreds of fields. All the fields are protected. And the workflow is such that you can provide this application through what we call LifeSite Pro. So it's an advisor dashboard where you can distribute LifeSite vaults to your clients. Your clients can use it to organize themselves, but very powerfully, they can also interact with you directly as an advisor. So they can share information, you can share documents, you can do secure messaging. And then what's also nice about the LifeSite Vault is that it's optimized to work on multiple devices. So if you look there on the right, it's optimized to work on the phone. And the phone is optimized to be used as a scanner. So you can take pictures of documents, and documents can automatically be placed into predefined categories, which make the documents discoverable and usable, as well as we recently won an award as the top Amazon Alexa skill. So you can actually use the Alexa device to access information such as put it in the hands of a client, and if they put information in LifeSite, you can do things such as Alexa, what are my LifeSite reminders for the day? And Alexa would tell you your father has a life insurance premium due in a couple of weeks, or your mother's ARP membership expires, or or a kid has has a doctor's appointment, or there's some needs to refill some pharmaceuticals or some medications. So the idea here is to basically provide this to clients, show them that you care, build deeper relationships, and then use this as a tool or a mechanism to not only market, but to discover more about families and to deepen relationships and deepen engagement. It's also worth mentioning that we have integrated this product to the Redtail CRM system as well. So that is due to be available in a few weeks. So I would encourage all you Redtail current users to look for that announcement. And then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to basically integrate the contact list from Redtail in the LifeSite so that you can provide the invitations, assuming you're using LifeSite, right, to basically engage your clients as I basically talked about. So, so that's basically it. And, with that, I'll throw it back to Rick and Paul, and I guess we'll conclude and answer some questions.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Chris. Everybody gets the idea. It's pretty simple. It's elegant. The technology, there's a couple of other vaults out there, and I would mention them because it's pretty, this LifeSite is the absolute on steroids as far as what it can do, capabilities, the elegance, the ease of use, the people-friendly aspect of it, the user-friendly aspect of it. This is the Fidelity has a vault and so on. They're obviously can do stuff with Dropbox, and you can put information there. LifeSite is absolutely totally impressive, and when you begin to offer it to your clients, they feel like they've gotten a tremendous asset to their life, to and obviously feel great about you. I think the technology is the first part, and two, the second part, and the piece to the puzzle here that's so important is you can help them to put the information in there, and you can help them to help identify the information of what they want to put in there, and to put the information that they feel comfortable putting it in there. Because you don't have to put everything in there. You can put some stuff, other stuff, whatever stuff you feel you want to have in a secure, organized fashion that anybody can access. And again, just to repeat what Chris said, you can give access to different portions. So if you want the lawyer to get access to the estate planning information or insurance information, you can do that. If you want your as a financial advisor, you could have access to certain information, but obviously not others. If you want your children to access your will or not access your will, you can give them. So everything's compartmentalized and easy to access. And with that elegance, it allows you to really have complete control, tremendous asset. So I'm going to just close with a couple comments here. Next slide, we say, how will clients and prospects feel about you if you help organize their life's information and create a living legacy for themselves? Obviously, they're going to feel great. Next slide, we say there's 3 ways to present LifeSite to your clients. We call it the 3 business development formats. One, we have a beautiful presentation. It's a PowerPoint. You can do it on laptop, on your desktop when a client comes into your office for an office meeting, and begin to show them how you can help them to organize and manage their financial documents. Number 2, you can do client events and invite the children, invite the family members, and we have a great presentation with a handout that you can use. It's a PowerPoint. We have a leader's guide with that, and you can just walk them through how important it is and the opportunity, and maybe even how they lack right now, kind of, as we say, touch the pain of what they don't have in terms of, in the case of an emergency, or getting access to who's handling the estate, or do they have disability, or is there a living will? All that information kind of touching the pain and the need for it, and then offering them LifeSite. Seminars, we have, again, the same presentation for new clients. So you have a PowerPoint, you have a leader's guide, and you have a handout to present the digital solution for organizing, managing, and securing information for people. So we've got a little offer here. We'll go to the next slide. We call it the $1 Million Success System, and it consists of a few parts. This is a one-time only type of a deal. So I'm going to leave, at the end of this, I'll leave some information to contact. We have the LifeSite Business Development System, which includes the slide presentation, the leader's guide, the success manual. That's $3,500 value for a PowerPoint interview that deals with some of the PowerPoints that are available. Know that you spend significant money for these kinds of presentations. And the second piece is we have the Pro LifeSite, which gives you the ability to hand out 10 client LifeSites to your best 10 clients. That's $2,500 value for the Pro Financial Advisor. You do not have access to their LifeSites. I want to emphasize that. Only they have access to the LifeSites. They will give you permission as their financial advisor to access those LifeSites if they want to, but that's their LifeSite. You can help them to start load their information. Then we have our Paul Karasik Career Development Resources, all my books, 22 Keys, written with Jim Benson, president of John Hancock, Sweet Persuasion sales book, if you like that material, How to Market to High Net Worth, my book, bestseller on how to market to high net worth clients and get more of them, Sweet Persuasion audios, double your production with client events, seminar selling. That's a 4 CD audio book, 22 keys, again, an audio book, and how to master the art of closing the sale, our DVD. Total value of that is $64.35. As a Redtail partner, and today, we don't take these orders after today. So if you're interested, please get on the phone, call 310-546-9277, and you can order the package. We'll get your name and email and phone and get you into action on that. You can email me at paul@paulkarasik.com if you want more information about our coaching programs or anything you heard here today, or more information about this particular program. If I don't get back to you, one of my associates here at the office will get back to you and give you more information on that. And we'd love to get you on board. This is a great deal. Redtail is excited about our partnership. We are engaged and bridged with our technology into Redtail. We're very excited about it. We're a natural fit. We want to help you grow your business. Redtail is, in my opinion, the best contact management software in the business, and we recommend it wholeheartedly to all of our clients, advisors that we work with. So it's an honor to be on this call today. I wish everybody great success. If you'd like to take advantage of the seminar presentation with the Leader's Guide, the manual, success manual, and all the materials that you heard here today, just give a call, 310-546-9277. Send an email to paul@paulkarasik.com. We'll get back to you. We'll help you grow your business with LifeSite. Great opportunity. And if not, as always, I wish you guys the best of success. Have a great year. Have a prosperous year. Keep growing. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks so much for allowing me to be on the call with you here today.
Paul, thank you so much. Chris, thank you so much. And if I can leave everybody with just one parting thought, as a relatively young whippersnapper, being of the ripe young age of 31, I can confirm a lot of these things just being a millennial. I don't even know who my parents' financial advisor is, if they even have one. I'm sure they do. And I kind of blame this non-existent advisor in their life for not reaching out to me. That's something that already, as I learn more about this, doesn't endear me. And so I think that it's extremely important that you work on that next generation, work on myself, not literally, but I am huge about building that relationship. I am, CRM, contact relationship management software. And by tying in your Redtail CRM with something like LifeSite, being able to provide that type of relationship and that type of experience even more, I think is extremely valuable. So with all of that, Paul, Chris, again, I want to thank you for your time today. Everybody for joining, I want to thank you for your time, and have a great day.